Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'll be sharing my experience so far with the OnePlus Nord 2 as my main device for about 2 weeks right now. I got the 128GB variant with 8 gigs of RAM in Blue Haze. The Nord 2 is the successor to OnePlus's original Nord phone, keeping its trend of getting some features of flagship devices while striking a balance between performance value and price. And while this is a mid-range phone, it's really great to see OnePlus allocating some resources on the design department. Here's a quick rundown of the specs of the OnePlus Nord 2. The main highlight is the Dimensity 1200 processor, and it's MediaTek's latest flagship processor that in terms of raw performance easily slots in between the Snapdragon 865 and 870. We'll talk more about performance in a bit, but for now, let's talk about the phone design. At the bottom, you'll find a Type-C charging port, a microphone, a speaker, and a SIM tray. Volume rockers are on the left side. The power button and the mute slider is on the right. And the top looks pretty clean with just a secondary microphone pinhole. The back is made out of glass and the frame on the sides is made of metal. The screen is pretty much the same with the original Nord, with the exception that there is only now a single camera punch hole with a better sensor. It's still the same 6.43-inch AMOLED display with 90Hz refresh rate, which provides punchy colors and great viewing angles that is great for gaming or consuming media. As someone coming from a phone that has 120 refresh rate, it's pretty hard to tell the difference. Now the stock performance. Everything from scrolling, switching apps, taking photos, playing games feels really snappy. It's all thanks to the new MediaTek Dimensity 1200 AI processor that's exclusively made for the Nord 2. This is also OnePlus's first usage of a MediaTek processor, and from my experience, the 1200 performs better than the Snapdragon 765 counterpart found on similarly priced phone. The processor feels more like a Qualcomm 800 series flagship in terms of performance. Everything is really fast, and microstutters or lag found on the 765 is not present here. And now to the gaming performance. So I'm using two of the most resource-intensive games for Android as a benchmark here, since these are also the only two games that I really play on mobile. So that's going to be COD Mobile and Genshin Impact. As for COD Mobile, with every graphics setting set to max, the Nord 2 plows through the gaming easily, while maintaining consistent high frame rates for a smooth gameplay experience. My only complaint is that for some reason, I feel like there's a small delay on the responsiveness of the screen when I tap or issue a command. And it occurs randomly, so I'm not really sure what's causing it, but restarting the game normally fixes the issue. Overall, it's a really great experience, especially when combined with that great AMOLED display. As for Genshin Impact, this game is known to be very heavy on the phone's graphic processing resources, and I'm happy to say that despite of that, Genshin is easily playable on this phone. Setting the graphics on max is doable, and the game is playable but makes the back of the phone quite warm, where frame rate also only hovers around the 30s or even lower depending on where you are on the map. But if you're like me who likes buttery smooth performance at high frame rates, I'd recommend setting the graphical settings to medium or medium high. There are very slight hiccups on a busy fight scene or when there are too many elemental burst skills that are used at the same time, but nothing game breaking at all. And now let's head to the camera section. So the Nord 2 comes with 3 cameras at the back and 1 selfie camera, and I'll be focusing on the main camera, which is the IMX766, a 50 megapixel sensor from Sony. This sensor is fairly new, and only a bunch of other mid-high to high-end smartphones from Oppo, Realme, Vivo, and Honor comes with them as of writing. In terms of what it's capable, well, here are some sample photos. The Nord 2's camera is capable of producing really great looking images, especially when there is an abundance of light, with colors leaning a bit on the saturated side, but not overly done. Sharpening can also be a bit aggressive, but even in difficult scenarios where the background is really bright, with the sun adding a bit more complexity to the scene, the Nord 2 still manages to capture the sky properly. Turn the lights down to undesirable levels, and the phone struggles with fine details, but I'd say still manages to capture images really well. OnePlus promises to be able to charge your phone from 1 to 100% in just about 30 minutes by using its 65-watt charger that comes with the phone out of the box. And they delivered on their promise. Although my test result is a few minutes off of the advertised speed, it is still pretty amazing to see this technology get to a mid-range phone. Its convenience is for people who forgets to charge and would have to leave in a pinch, as 15 minutes of charging would get you around 50% or more, which is more than enough to power the smartphone through the entire day when using the phone conservatively. The phone speaker is pretty average and leans a bit more on the tinny side. I think OnePlus can learn a thing or two from Xiaomi on how speakers are implemented, particularly on the Poco X3, which has a really great punchy speakers, which adds a lot to the immersiveness when watching videos or playing games. So, should you buy the OnePlus Nord 2? Well, for around $400+ or a peso short of 22,000 from where I live, it isn't particularly cheap when compared to the competition in the market, such as the Poco F3, which has a better processor and speaker, but is a step back on the camera department, and the slightly bloaty software may be a deal breaker for some. If you really like a clean and snappy Android experience, a great camera that nearly compares to some of the flagship phones out there, an arguably great premium smartphone design, and a budget that isn't really a problem, then I can easily recommend and say, go for the OnePlus Nord 2.